Well, it's Sunday morning, a day of rest. Why are we here?
Yeah.
And it's 8:30 in the morning. This is, Kevin came up with a list up here. We're going to check the float height in the carburetor. It was absolutely perfect. We're checking the valves. They're still 2 and 4, absolutely perfect. We pulled the whole petcock out of the gas tank and checked for crud and corruption. It's absolutely perfect. We opened up the petcock and took the inside out. It's absolutely perfect. And at this point in time, what was that, jetting? Oh, we're not going to pull with jetting yet.
No,
But,
that's a question.
Yeah, at this point, we're going to start the bike, and then as we run it, I am going to very, very gently tap the magnetic pickup plate forward and backwards, just a billionth at a time, and see if it affects the engine. Because sometimes when you're doing this and you get close to the right spot, the engine will just sort of relax. It's like, I'm struggling, and then you hit the right spot and it goes, oh, thump, 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 thump. And you can actually feel it. Now, that's not just a personal observation. Believe it or not, in the workshop manual for this motorcycle, that's what they recommend you do. Because remember, this motorcycle does not have any timing marks. They were doing it with cigarette paper for opening the points, and they were doing it with the piston displacement method for setting the advance. And we also ran into a situation where this particular model, which is the M model, T20M, correct?
That is correct.
Is not listed in any single piece of literature anywhere as far as workshop manual or anything we can find on the web. So we found most of the references were from about 15 degrees before top dead center,
Yep,
all the way up to 36 degrees top dead center. And we found one that was a year away, but not an M, but a high compression engine, and it said 28 degrees. So we used the degree wheel to come up with 28 degrees, and the bike seems to run. But that's no guarantee that 28 degrees is the absolute correct ignition advance point for this particular T20M 1966, correct?
correct.
1966 T120M. We really don't know if 28 degrees is the actual, honest to goodness, correct advance. So we're going to fudge the advance forward and backwards and see if the engine likes or dislikes what we do. And once again, that's the method used in the workshop manual for this silly bike. Move the points timing plate forward and backwards to see the best setting. That's stupid. I'll tell you the truth. Kevin and I have thought about this at length. And if we could find the perfect spot, once we found the perfect spot, if this was my motorcycle, I would take this the primary cover off, which includes the stator. But once we have the exact timing correct, I would mark it on the rotor and then have my machinist cut an access hole right here and make a plug for it so that future guys can set it with a strobe light and get it perfect. And I'm that close to taking this cover off and having the machinist cut an access hole threaded to accept one of these type of plugs. I mean, Norton did it in the Commando, so why not? Anyway, that's where we are. We just checked the valves. They're absolutely gorgeous. Perfect spacing, perfect action. We've got the concentric carb on it. Float is good. Gas flow. I swear, I describe it as a dribble. It's not a gush, but it's a good dribble, and I swear it's more than the carburetor needs, so it should be plenty to keep the float bowl full. We're going to keep working with the concentric if we should suddenly, that's interesting. I don't
It's the
know.
only way to get to it.
Don't do that on video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only way to get to tighten the rocker cover.
Okay, fine. So anyway, we're going to leave the concentric on it for a while, see if we can get a good start, and then fudge the timing and see what happens. And we'll do it on video. I think. Later, man. It's been running like this for about 15 minutes. It runs, it idles, and it idles down really slowly as if the throttle is turning itself off. It'll idle like that very nicely for a while. Great idle right now. It's not the cable. The cable is not holding it. It's not the slide because I shine the light inside. The throttle is not sticking. The throttle slide. It likes to punch around. Way up there. You can goose it. See that? Slow down idle. And it'll die in a second. That's pretty good when it's done right there. It's about 2 minutes. I see the oil leak right there. Don't worry about that. Just leave it keep running. If you're out riding and you keep your hand on the throttle, you can goose it when it goes down. Just that little bit, right back up to high idle, and you still have nothing holding. The throttle cable is not holding. That's what the monoblock put on it, put back on it. It runs better with the monoblock than with the concentric. There it is idling fast now. Alright. Let's talk about what we did. I'll turn the fan off. Let's see. There we go. All right, we put the concentric on it. It ran, but not great. And then remember I told you that I was just going to get in there and start adjusting the rotation on the mag pickup and see if I could make it run better. Perfectly correct troubleshooting technique according to the book. And by goodness, yeah, it ran better. Matter of fact, it ran a lot better. And I actually went as far as you could on the adjustment, and I'll show you what we found. Okay, when I started this black mark right there, let's see if I can get this thing to focus. There. This black mark here was lined up with that black mark there. And I adjusted it to the ends of the stops, and it started running really, really good. Which tells me that 28 degrees is not the right timing for this thing. And it's running a whole lot better here than it has basically since we started the project,
Yep.
right?
Yep, this is the best running.
This is the best. I mean, it runs and idles and doesn't stall too bad. If you were riding, you'd just keep, rapping on the throttle. Which, by the way, is a consideration when you are running without a battery. You got to keep the R's up. I have never seen one without a battery idle as well as one with a battery, okay? Because you're subject to the vagaries of the electrical system at the moment, whereas with the battery, you've always got a sack full of electrons backing you up. We're going to do a test ride on this thing. We're going to seal that cap there on top of the engine and do a test ride. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what's next, yeah.
Okay. All right, that's where we are. Let's try to seal that cap, and then I don't know, we'll do a test ride or call it a day, one of the two.
Oh, might as well do a test ride.
We might as well do a test ride.
Yeah, and it'll either be shit or okay.
All right, so that's where we are. We're going to try to seal this cap and call it ready for a test ride. All right, we sealed up this access hole where the distributor used to go. That's sealed now. Let's see if that's tight. Haven't put the air cleaner connector tube on yet. We're going to do that pending the test ride. Sealed up the magnetic pickup compartment. We done anything else interesting since we last spoke? We're ready to start it up and take it outside and do a test ride.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next video you see will be Kevin kicking the ever-loving bejeebus out of this thing. Let's see what happens. All right, well, he's out on the ride, and once again, I'm giving him about 60–70% chance of coming back. It sounded better when he left, but not great. Just don't know. So, just don't know. If anybody out there in the world knows the before top dead center full advance timing in degrees, let us know, because we found it all over the place, all over for different models, but not the M model. And if you have insight into what the timing is supposed to be, we will start the process over. That's no problem. Right now, using the feel, fondle, and rotate method, it seems to run pretty good. Difficult to idle, doesn't like to idle, but then that's sort of a synchronous, I've lost the word, synchronous? No, it's what bikes without batteries tend to do. They don't like to idle. Symptom. Yeah, symptom will do. Here he comes, full speed. Sounds pretty good, actually. Idling Tell you what, that's the best test ride we've done. Oh, wow. The boy is having fun. See if he can keep it running all the way into the shop.
Oil!
We've had it hot enough to do that. All right, so let's get her up on the lift and see what we see.
She finally dropped into idle after, 3 runs.
So you're actually getting
And didn't shut off when you
Uh-huh.
came to a stop.
All right,
I came to a stop in here, it was fine.
Yeah, all right.
Dropped into idle.
Okay, now, well, we got to find out where all this oil's coming from. Is it just that?
Yes, look
It's
at
just
it.
that.
It's that. Yeah, look at
The
that.
one that I just made a brand new
Yeah.
gasket for, that.
Yep, that's where it's coming from.
That's what's getting on the exhaust?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got something coming from somewhere else, too.
That's this, right here.
Wow, that's-
I guarantee it. See that?
Oh,
That's coming out of the shifter.
Christ.
To do that, we have to take the whole cover off, which means all the timing has to be done again. All right. So answer me this. As far as the running's concerned, we got to fix that oil, but as far as
Yeah.
the running's concerned,
It took me a minute to remember it's a 200cc motor. But yeah, no, she runs fine, shifts. There was that initial jerking, but that may have been me. I don't know. Then it leveled out fine. It was fine. It was absolutely fine. We have no rear brake. We have to adjust the rear brake.
okay.
Yeah. But the front brake works great. Keeping those RPMs up. I never stalled. But it was just keeping those RPMs off, and I was waiting until I came in here.
All right.
Shifts nicely, downshifts. You get a little compression.
All right. So going back to a really basic question, this is where you have to dig deep into your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Once we seal that stupid cap, to stop it from leaking. As far as the running of the bike, once we
Yes.
get the back brake tight, okay,
Mhm.
would you release it to the client?
Yes.
Okay, you're
with
comfortable.
with the caveat that it's cold-hearted.
And it has to be kept running.
Yeah, for
Doesn't
quite a while
idle
to
for
warm
poop.
up.
Okay, so
Yep.
good. Then let's start cleaning up the oil and the brake and do a check over, and we may be able to release this thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this. This guy is leaking, and bottom line is, see how thin this area here is right there. That's the it's like a 1/16 of an inch of gasket face. So I guarantee that's where it's coming from. So I got to address that. How to make a gasket that'll fit that, or a cap that'll go all the way down and sit on that face where the old distributor used to sit. Got to work on that because it was leaking like a sieve. There's just not a lot of gasket face there. In the meantime, back at the ranch, okay, oil is dripping down here. And if you let me just put my finger in here, I'll show you. That's a lot of oil. Okay, and that appears to be coming from these lines right here that are especially this one, which is the return line. It seems to be wet. So that seems to be leaking. I think we're going to end up taking this whole oil line assembly off right here, that bolt, taking it down and putting these lines on better, because we have already tried to stop that leak. We put these 2 clamps on, there were no clamps on it, and it didn't seem to do it. So we're going to try to get these lines farther down on this assembly by taking it off, because that's a lot of oil. We got to fix that. Okay. Now we've been talking about the bike ran pretty good. It's still idling a little weird. Anything more is time to throw large amounts of money at the bike and see if we make one of these small monoblock, the new monoblocks that they offer, the small one. So that'll take some research. All right, so that's where we are.